Imagine waking up one morning and seeing your mother standing in front of you. She looks exactly the same. Same face, same voice, same smile. Nothing appears different, but something feels deeply wrong. Your brain begins screaming one terrifying thought. That is not your mother. She looks like her. She sounds like her. She knows everything your mother knows, but she is not real. She is an imposter, a replacement, a perfect copy pretending to be someone you love. You try to explain it, but nobody believes you. Doctors ask questions, family members panic, friends think you are confused. But to you, the truth feels obvious. The person standing in front of you is fake, not metaphorically, not emotionally, literally fake, an imposter, a duplicate, a stranger wearing the face of someone you love. This sounds like science fiction, or horror, or paranoia, but for some people, this terrifying experience is real. It has a name, Capgras syndrome, and it is one of the most disturbing disorders ever documented, because it raises a terrifying possibility. What if your brain suddenly stopped recognizing the people you love? Not visually, emotionally. What if your eyes said, "That's your mother," but your brain said, "No, that's something pretending to be her"? This is the story of the syndrome that makes people believe everyone around them is fake, and why it reveals something shocking about how the human mind works. The syndrome was first described in 1923. French psychiatrist Joseph Capgras documented a strange case. His patient was a woman, and she believed something extraordinary. She claimed people around her had been replaced, not changed, not acting differently, replaced. She believed impostors had taken over the identities of people she knew, family members, friends, even strangers. At one point, she reportedly believed doubles had replaced people repeatedly, again and again and again. Imagine how disturbing that is. You look at someone familiar. Everything visually matches, yet your brain insists something is wrong. That mismatch creates terror, confusion, suspicion, and often intense fear. Capgras called it the illusion of doubles. That description was perfect, because patients often believe duplicates are everywhere, perfect physical copies, emotionally wrong. To understand Capgras syndrome, you need to understand how normal recognition works. Most people think recognition is simple. You see a face, you recognize the face, done. But your brain does much more than that, much more. When you look at someone you love, multiple systems activate. Visual recognition identifies the face. Memory systems retrieve identity. Emotional systems generate familiarity. That emotional response matters more than people realize. When you see your mother, you do not just think, "That looks like my mother." You feel something, familiarity, emotional warmth, recognition, connection. That feeling is automatic, instant, invisible. You normally never notice it, because it works perfectly, until it doesn't. This is where things get terrifying. In Capgras syndrome, researchers believe something disconnects. The face recognition system still works. The patient can identify faces correctly. They know what the face looks like, but the emotional recognition pathway appears damaged. That means something horrifying happens. The patient sees a familiar face, but feels no emotional familiarity. The emotional signal never arrives, and the brain hates unexplained mismatches. It wants explanations, so it creates one. If this person looks like my mother, but does not feel like my mother, then this cannot actually be my mother. It must be someone else, an imposter. That conclusion sounds irrational, but from the patient's perspective, it feels logical, completely logical. Their brain is trying to explain impossible evidence. This is what makes Capgras so terrifying. Patients are not simply confused. They are often deeply convinced, absolutely convinced, because the experience feels real. The emotional signal is missing. That missing feeling becomes powerful evidence. Think about how much of reality depends on emotional certainty. Far more than most people realize. Your brain constantly combines vision, memory, emotion, prediction to create reality. Remove one part, and reality starts breaking. That is exactly what happens here. The patient sees familiar people, but emotionally, those people feel wrong, cold, empty, artificial. And once that feeling appears, paranoia can grow rapidly. Now imagine living with this condition. Every interaction becomes terrifying. Your husband enters the room. Your brain says, looks correct, but wrong. Your child speaks to you, looks right, sounds right, still wrong. Your parents visit, same faces. Wrong people. Imagine how isolating that becomes. The people closest to you become strangers, or worse, threats. Some patients become terrified, others become aggressive, some withdraw completely, because they believe they are surrounded by impostors. Not one impostor, multiple, sometimes entire groups, sometimes everyone. That creates unimaginable psychological stress, because trust collapses completely. Here is something even stranger. Capgras does not always involve people. Some patients believe pets were replaced. A beloved dog, a cat, even objects, cars, homes, personal belongings, things that should feel familiar, suddenly feel wrong, artificial, fake. That detail reveals something fascinating. Capgras is not just about faces. It is about familiarity itself, the feeling of realness, and what happens when that feeling breaks. This is where the story becomes even more complex. Capgras syndrome is not usually a standalone illness. It often appears alongside other conditions: schizophrenia, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, brain injuries, neurological damage, stroke, sometimes severe psychiatric illness, sometimes physical brain damage, sometimes both. That makes diagnosis difficult, because Capgras is often a symptom of deeper problems, and every case can look different. Some patients target one person, others target many. Some remain calm, others become extremely distressed, but the core experience remains similar. Familiar becomes unfamiliar, recognition becomes suspicion, trust becomes fear. Researchers wanted to test this strange theory. Were patients truly recognizing faces visually while losing emotional recognition? So they ran experiments. The results were extraordinary. Patients with Capgras could identify loved ones correctly. Show them photographs. They recognize everyone. No visual problem. But when researchers measured emotional response, something strange happened. Normally, seeing a loved one triggers automatic emotional reactions, tiny physiological changes, heart rate, skin response, subtle signals. But Capgras patients often showed reduced emotional response. Their bodies reacted as if familiar faces were emotionally unfamiliar. That was huge, because it supported the disconnection theory. Their eyes recognized the face. Their emotions did not. This part is fascinating. Some patients with Capgras behave strangely on phone calls. They may distrust people face to face, but trust them over the phone. Why? Because voice recognition may bypass the broken visual emotional pathway. That means hearing a loved one's voice can feel normal. Seeing their face can feel fake. Think about how bizarre that is. The same person, trusted over phone, distrusted in person. That reveals just how specific the brain disruption can be, and how incredibly complex recognition really is. Capgras syndrome teaches us something unsettling. Reality feels stable, solid, reliable, but much of that stability is constructed by the brain. Your sense of familiarity, trust, recognition, identity. These feel automatic, because they are, but they depend on incredibly complex systems working perfectly. Thousands of processes, millions of signals, constantly synchronized. When that system breaks, reality itself changes, not physically, psychologically, and the result can feel horrifyingly real. The scariest part is not just the syndrome itself, it is what it reveals. Your brain does not simply record reality, it builds reality, moment by moment, using perception, memory, emotion, prediction, and when one piece fails, the entire model can shift. That means certainty can be misleading. Reality can feel obvious and still be wrong. That idea is deeply uncomfortable because we trust our own minds. We trust what feels real. Capgras forces us to confront a terrifying truth. Sometimes, what feels real is not real at all. Capgras syndrome has become more widely discussed in recent years, partly because of neuroscience, partly because of psychology, and partly because it feels disturbingly relevant today. We live in a world filled with deepfakes, AI-generated faces, digital manipulation, synthetic voices. The idea of fake people no longer feels impossible. That makes Capgras even more unsettling. Because long before AI, the human brain already had the ability to create this terrifying experience. A world where everyone feels fake. The syndrome that makes you think everyone is fake is rare, but unforgettable, because it reveals something deeply disturbing about the human mind. Recognition is not just about seeing. It is about feeling. And when feeling disappears, certainty disappears with it. The people you love can become strangers. Your home can feel artificial. Reality can feel wrong. And perhaps the most unsettling lesson of all is how fragile normal reality actually is. Because right now, you look at the people around you, and they feel real, familiar, trusted, safe, but that certainty depends on circuits in your brain silently working in perfect harmony. And if those circuits fail, everything can change. Not because the world changed, but because your experience of reality did. And that leaves us with a chilling thought. How much of reality is truly objective, and how much is simply what your brain allows you to believe?